Welcome to the Talk and Chatter experience powered by Gasoline Alley Harley Davidson, Pirelli Motorcycle Tyres Australia, and TCX Boots. Welcome, Taiyo Aksu.
Thanks, mate.
We just got home, like it's literally Monday morning after ASBK round 5 up at Morgan Park.
Yeah.
How was your weekend up there, man?
Honestly, it was actually real fun. Like, as much as it sucked not being at a race, it was real fun watching the boys, and like they're just a whole nother level this year. And like honestly, I would say it was almost as fun just watching them go that quick and just watching the battles.
So, like, you got to race it last year. You've got an amazing feel for a motorcycle. Were you able to help a couple of riders out through the weekend and just bounce a bit of feedback for some things as well?
Yeah, well, on the weekend I was helping Cameron Swain a lot.
Yep.
I was just telling him like what I experienced from last year and like what kind of area you have to put yourself in if you want to be win the race.
Yep.
But apart from that, like honestly, the lads were honestly, if I raced this year, I think I would have been able to stay in the front pack, but I'm not too sure if I would have been like at that level, like straight away. Like 22, whatever they did, like 22.6, 22.8, like that's just crazy fast.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone's done that since Senna did it a couple of years ago.
It's an incredible pace, and Cam Swain, a name you touched on there,
Yeah.
just came out of the box and just, I don't know, he's got such a, I don't know, just so aggressive at the moment.
Yeah, no, he's looking good.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you reckon that is?
I think he's just it's just clicked with him. Like it happened with me last year where it suddenly just clicked with me, and it was at the same round, Morgan Park. It's weird. It's just like you suddenly feel so comfortable and confident on the bike.
Yep.
And it just feels like everything is working well. It's like a well-oiled machine. It just works so well. Everything feels so fluid, and you just gel with the track.
Yeah.
And like obviously he's been real competitive all season, but like I think that's, and even racing with him last year, but I think that was like the best I've ever seen him.
Yeah, I think so too. And the word you just said there, fluid.
Yeah,
that's it. Like you just see him on the bike. It's just on rails because he's so fluid on it. It's so smooth, you know.
Yeah.
Looks great. Who's Taiyo Aksu?
So I'm Taiyo Aksu, but so up until last year I raced in the ASBK paddock.
Yep.
I did R3 Cup and Super Sport 300 for 2 years. That was my 2 years in ASBK. Last year, I'd say I had a pretty all right year, consistent in the top 3, I'd say, and third in the championship. And this year I'm racing over in Japan in the All Japan Road Racing Championship in the JP250 class.
Yep.
With Team Dogfight Racing with Team JP.
Mm-hmm.
And so far it's not gone too bad. It was a big learning curve moving over there, but I think I'm starting to get the hang of it, and hopefully looking for some better results when we go back.
Mate, like we'll get to that a little bit. What's the history of motorcycling? I heard you saying up in commentary yesterday when we were up there, GP Juniors was one of the first things. But how did it all start for you?
The very beginning of it, my 6th birthday, me and the family went for a bit of a holiday over Christmas to Broom's Head.
Yep.
We come back, I think it was like Sunday night or something, and Dad's told me go into the garage. I just remember it like it was yesterday. He's like, go into the garage and can you grab like a beer or something for me? I walked in there and I see this tarp. I'm like, oh, what's that? And I walked in, just me being curious. I walked in, I pulled it up, and I see this PW50.
Wow.
And yeah, that was my first ever bike, and I think I rode that thing that night till like 7 o'clock at night.
Really?
Just in the backyard.
So you remember that?
I remember it so clearly. That was like the happiest day of my life. I was so happy.
So addictive, eh?
Yeah, it's just like, it's like a drug. It's just, once you get on it, you just don't want to get off.
Yeah, you don't want to go to school. You don't want to do that. Like, you just literally want to hop on that bike. Like, you're at school, you're thinking about getting on the bike, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's all I can think about now.
It's good, isn't it?
And yeah, I turned, rode that Pee-wee for a bit.
Yep.
And then quickly realised that if I wanted to race, might as well get me going on like a bike with gears.
Yeah.
So we bought Harrison Voigt's old CRF50.
Oh, true.
So that was my first ever bike with gears.
Yep.
And that thing was fun. Like, I think I learned so many skills on that, like especially how to corner properly, because I was racing a CRF50 against DB2s and whatnot, and realised that I'm not going to beat him down the straight, so kind of have to push through the corner.
Mm.
And then I think honestly, like within a year of riding, I only rode the Pee-wee 50 for about 3 months, and that CRF for like 3 months, and then got a 65, KTM 65.
Yep.
And started racing that. And I never really did many Australian titles like most other kids did. I kind of just did the club stuff.
Yep.
Around like my catches and whatnot, which is the closest track to my home.
Yep.
And rode the KTM 65 for maybe 2 years or so. I did one or two Australian titles. And then then moved up to a 85.
Yep. Tell me this, was it when you first got on that Pee-wee, did you think you were going to race? Or did you just want to go ride and bike? Like, where did the racing part come? Because not everyone wants to race a bike. So where'd that start?
Me and Dad have this conversation all the time, but like, honestly, at first it was just to like get me outdoors and get me doing something and me finding something I enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like since I was little, Dad's loved racing, and he was never a racer, but he always loved the GP, and he always watched racing, and I watched it with him.
Yep.
But then, I kind of realised that I'm actually not too bad at this.
Yep.
And then Dad just took me to this like a orientation day at my catches.
Ah, yep.
And that's kind of where it all started, because I went pretty well at that. And then we went out for a race like a race weekend when they used to have this like the one race for these little kids.
Yep.
And then I think I did pretty good in that. And then Dad kind of decided, well, you're not too bad. We'll just try flat track racing for a bit.
Yep.
And yeah, went through the whole flat track scene, I guess, but never really did even like not any Australian titles. I think I did Gunnedah in 2016 and maybe Brisbane when they did it. I think that was a Queensland title.
Yep.
But I wasn't, honestly, like back then I wasn't even that competitive. I don't even think I made the final in some of them.
Yeah, right.
But then like unlike the other kids like Johnny Littress and like Senna, they've won like tons and tons of Australian titles on flat track, but I've never actually won an Australian title on flat track. So
yeah, tell you what, your roads, like whatever it has adapted from flat track and whatnot,
yeah,
is transferred over to your road side of it really well.
Yeah, well, like ever since I was little, I always got told by everyone like, oh, you have to push the rear, but like you just go back and like younger photos of me, you just see like a roost coming off my front tire. And I've always been like a type of rider that really pushes the front tire.
Yep.
And I think when I made the switch to road, it like kind of just suited the bike straight away.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of just like, I pretty much took to it pretty quickly, and like straight away I was like even more hooked on road. I was like, all I could think about was I need to go to mini moto. I need to ride.
Wow, it's a crazy thing, like that transition. And I was talking to Cam Dunker yesterday, because Cam Dunker, like he doesn't think it sort of at the moment, but like I asked him about like front tire. You just see him, he's just all on front. So Aussie Flat Track Nationals the other week, front tire coming in, like there's just so much coming through it. Like you're just like, wow, look how much he rides on that. And then I was watching him do the Super Sport on the weekend. It's the same, and he's like, yeah, but I've had to really learn it because everything's been pushing with the rear, like you were just saying. And he goes, I've really had to learn it. I'm like, wow, you've picked it up pretty damn well, because you see him come into turn 4, it's sort of like Jonesy, just so much transition to the front, and there's just so much lean, but a real nice amount. Like it's, and it's just interesting to see how that works, you know?
Yeah, like racing him last year was the same. Like, he's just so consistent, and like he's just overall like I think he's a real good rider, and like as a competitor, it's so annoying to say, and like it's hard to race him, but like honestly, I think he's a pretty good rider. And like I was watching him on the weekend and just watching him pushing into like 4 and 6. He's just it just looks like, again, just so fluid and smooth.
Yeah,
like it just looks like he's just like he knows exactly what he's doing, knows where the bike wants to be. Body position. Just he's got it like so dialed.
Yep.
And it just honestly, it looks amazing.
It really does, and you see even things like brake pressure and everything. You just see him come down, and like no chatter. Yeah. Like there's just nothing, and that's like a Mike thing. Like you go down to turn 4 and watch Mike Jones come into turn 4, and it's just the bike's pitched really nicely. He's coming in just fluid. Exactly. There's no chatter. There's no nothing. Just knows exactly where to be. Bang, on the throttle and out. It's so efficient, you know.
Yeah, that's what everyone says about Mike. He's just so smooth. Like even at the card track,
Yep.
like he doesn't look like he's like it actually looks like he's going slow, but then you'll time him and he's going so quick.
Mm.
And I'm like, how? But then I guess like Dad always told me, smooth is fast, and when you look slow, you're going the fastest. So
Yeah, that's so true. It's so true. Mike Hatcher, like it's been a foundation for a lot of riders. Who were you riding against down there as a club, like coming through? What was the riders?
Well, me and Glenn have been pretty. Glenn Nelson.
Glenn Nelson. Yep.
We've been. Kind of almost like rivals since flat track. Like we've been racing up against each other ever since then.
Wow.
And even same with Harrison Voigt. We almost started around the same time. I think he started like a month or two before me on the dirt.
Yep.
And all through flat track, because I never did the Aussie titles, but like just at club events, it would just be me, him, and Glenn just up front, just banging bars with each other.
Wow.
It was pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see him over in Europe and think, I used to race him back in the day and whatnot. But hopefully I'll get there one day.
And he's doing good. Like Harry's great for the sport.
Yeah.
Like he's a great ambassador coming through. You know, like this is the program, and he's doing really well over there.
Yeah. It's
tough too.
I was too tired to watch Catalonia last night, but I saw just the first 2 or 3 rounds. He just took to it straight away. Just a bigger going from the Moto 3 to the Moto 2.
Yeah.
Like obviously that'll be a pretty big step up. And he just took to it straight away. And watching him last year at the Bend again, he was just so, is that word again, fluid. Like he just looked so smooth.
And to come here and get on a bike and, you know, lap record pace at the Bend, lap record pace at Phillip Island at the start of this year. Like you just know as soon as you get over to Europe, you're in a good stead. But like we'll touch on when we talk about you racing in Japan, you go to these places and there's 25, 26, 28 on the grid of lap record holders in their own places. That's bloody difficult, hey? Yeah,
like it's just a completely different field, I guess.
Yep.
Like you'll see riders, like even riders that aren't too, like they're not great, but they're not too bad when they leave Australia and go to Europe.
Yep.
Be there for a year, they'll come back and they'll be like a second quicker than everyone. It's just insane to think how high the level must be over there.
Yeah, because you look at it here, and you look at it here currently, it's tough.
Yeah.
Like it's the fields are deep. Like you can look through basically all the classes and go, okay, there's 8 to 12 at least that can be on the podium or win.
Yeah.
That's a good competition.
Yeah.
So how do you keep pushing it faster and faster and come back from Europe and be a second faster?
Yeah, exactly.
When you're already at the peak here.
It's just like, you just look at it, it kind of like wrecks your brain. But I think it's more to do with like the fact that, because like over here, obviously we have a lot of racing and riding to do, but like, most of the kids either work or we go to school.
Yeah.
Whereas over there, if you're an Aussie or from any other country that's living in, like let's say Spain, you don't go to school or work. All you do is train, ride. And I think that's where you get that bike experience and you get that feel, like that magic touch for the bike.
Yeah.
And then when you bring that back to Australia, compared to like the kids that we might ride twice a month maybe.
Yep.
It just that's where the real difference shows.
You can't replicate bike time.
No, you can't.
Just can't. There's no matter what bike it is as well. Like it's like you just need to be on 2 wheels. And like speaking to Harry when Harry came in was, you know, Wednesday you can just go to a kart track. Next day you can go do a track day at Catalonia. You know, like you're riding all these magic tracks for one thing, but you can ride every day. And then you can cycle in, you know, we have hills here, but in our region we don't have mountain ranges.
No.
You look at Harry and you look at Senna, they're cycling through mountains. Like their fitness level is increasing because of where they're at too, the altitude. Come back here and it's a total different. They're in a different level. So, you know, we've got Daisy Hill close to us here, but it's like a hill. You know, we don't have that high altitude training and that locally anyway for Queensland. So makes it different for that.
Yeah.
Now Hatches, obviously a good place to ride. Good memories?
Lots of good memories.
Yeah.
Lots of good and bad memories, but the good outweigh the bad. Like honestly, that was I'll never forget Hatches because that was the first place that I actually ever raced at, and
Yep.
it's really it's just my home track.
Mm.
And like even Hatch's dad and Aaron Littress put so much into it because like all that fencing around that back straight and whatnot now.
Yep.
Dad and Aaron put that in back in the day.
Serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
That back when Dad was vice president.
Yep.
So a lot of memories there, and I remember one time before I think it was Gunnedah, and me and Johnny were out there just on like I think we rented the track or something just for the afternoon after school.
Gunnedah?
No.
Hatches. Yeah.
Oh, not renting Gunnedah.
I was going to say, when you said Gunnedah, I'm like, really?
No, I just rented Hatches out for the afternoon. Or we might have just been making sure that wall was all right. But
Yep.
yeah, we've had some good memories there. Like I think me just practicing out there and being able to learn how to slide the bike and slide like two-wheel drifting the bike is just it replicates so well to especially the bigger bikes like 600s.
Right.
And just lots of good memories back there.
Do you in your time coming through there, were you able to do the midweek things? Like, do they still run that? Do you know? Like,
I know they used to run it. I did a couple of them, but I'm not too sure if they run it anymore.
because that was like I used to go to those a little bit, and that's a long time ago now, but like you could go out sort of like the mini Moto does.
Yeah.
You could go at like 1 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon or something and ride till 5 or 6 o'clock over summer. Like, it was great. Like, you could go ride dirt track of a weekday.
Yeah.
It was real cool.
It was so cool.
It was so good. And I just don't know if they did it anymore. I thought, I wonder if they do. But that was great.
Yeah, no, I haven't been there I think in the last 2 years I've ridden there once.
Yep.
Because I've just been so busy and just haven't really had the time. But I know they've got a new committee in there now, and I'm not too sure if they still run it.
Yeah, I don't know. And as both of us know, it got and gets harder and harder to run motorcycles within residential areas.
Oh yeah.
And that sucks because we won't go there. But that's annoying. But the more meetings you put on, the more complaints you have, the more things happen. So I don't know if it happens anymore weekdays, but So 65s. What'd you go to after that?
KTM 85. So
Yep.
But honestly, I barely rode that 85. I think my first ever race on it actually is a funny story.
Yeah.
First ever, we picked it up, and my first ever race, we took it to the track. It still had the old person sticker kit where we bought it off. It was like Clash and Wheels sticker kit.
Oh, true. Yeah.
And we picked it up on our way to Gunnedah.
Yep.
Gunnedah Australian titles.
Oh, gee.
And Dad put the sticker kit on at the caravan park we're staying at.
Yep.
And first ever time I rolled out on an 85 was Australian titles.
In Gunnedah.
In Gunnedah. First ever time on an oil track as well.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Now, you're someone that's saying that they like the front tyre a bit. I reckon you would have felt pretty good at Gunnedah.
I felt real good at Gunnedah. Because it was my first time on oil, I was a bit... I couldn't really... I was still young and didn't understand anything. So I was
how much grip's coming through.
Yeah, how much grips it's got. But then towards the end, in the 85s, I think I got used to the bike and whatnot and kind of learnt the size difference.
Yep.
But on the 65, I was just real passive until I realised I might be able to make the final here. Wow. And Dad's telling me before the race, he's like, if you make the final, something. I remember he was telling me, I didn't listen to a word. I was so nervous and whatnot. And
were you nervous? How old are you now?
16.
Were you nervous as younger?
Oh yeah, I've always been a nervous kid.
Because you don't seem it now.
Oh, at the track, I'm pretty.
Okay.
Before races, I get pretty nervous.
Mm.
But I was racing up against that Australian title. The competition was strong. We had Johnny there, John Littress.
Yep.
Senna was racing it. Senna Adrius, Jacob Rolstein, Harry Voigt. The whole. I think at least 5 of those guys that were in the final.
Yep.
Either gone overseas or have won more Australian supersport, superbike type titles over here.
Yep.
And I wanted to get into that final so bad, and I missed out in the rep road charge, by a dead heat.
Oh, you're serious?
Top 2 go into the final.
Yep.
I missed out by a dead heat because it went back to count back.
Yep.
So I was a bit quiet after that one. I was a bit upset, but
yeah, And that's heartbreak. Like, it's like anything. When it's down to the wire,
Yeah.
like if you just lose, you're like, oh, that sucks. Let me go back and work on this, you know?
Mm.
But if it's down to the wire,
Yeah.
it just tears a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was like if it was like, yeah, if it wasn't down to the wire, like I just lost the race outright,
Yep.
I would have been like, oh, all right, I have to improve here. But
Yeah,
like,
I can work.
when it goes to dead heat
Mm.
and it goes back to a count back, that's when I'm like, oh no.
And how do you think you would have went?
In the final,
Yeah.
I don't think I would have been kept up with those front boys, but
Yep.
I would have just been cool being in the final. That was like, I wasn't even thinking of winning the Aussies
Yep.
back then because I was like, these guys are like next level fast. But I was just thinking like, it'll be just cool to be in the final. If I can make the final, that's a flex in its own.
Oh, yeah. Australian Dirt Track Final. Like, it's a huge privilege to be in that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? Especially like those riders you just mentioned there.
Yeah.
Won lots of Australian titles. Have set lap records everywhere. Like, in every class. You've grown up in an era of some killers.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
there was,
like you
there
would
was
have.
like all the way going all the way through like flat track and stuff.
Yep.
Like none of the lads that are overseas now were overseas yet.
Mm.
So I felt like, yeah, just going up there with them. I think I got quite fortunate, like being like fortunate and I guess unlucky because I didn't stand out as much, but I learned so much.
Yep.
Like, and even with Harry, like on flat track, just me and him dicing, I think I would have learned a fair bit from him just watching him, like, oh, he's doing this through here. And, like, I was just watching clips on him on Instagram when he was training in Europe.
Yeah, right.
Like, when he went to Asia Talent Cup, I saw him training on some dirt bike. And then that kind of, like, next time I went out on the dirt, I'm going to try this.
Mm.
So, honestly, I think at the same time, it's like a blessing as well. And it's also a bit unlucky, but...
Yeah, I think it's one of the ones where in the long term it's a blessing.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, at the immediate time, it pisses you off.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a blessing in the long term to learn, especially, you know, that's a solid group of riders. And Harry's bike craft
Yeah.
is real solid, hey?
Yeah. Like the way he moves around the bike.
Yeah.
It's like, you look at some riders and they're so... Like the way they have to like throw it, looks like they're fighting the bike. Whereas Harry just is so smooth and just watching him, he knows.
Yep.
It's like he tells the bike what to do and it does it.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter the bike too.
Yeah, you can do it on anything.
Yeah. Like we rode over New Year's at Coffs at the dirt track.
Yeah.
So dirt track there, and then seen him out at like Mini Moto, Phillip Island, like a few different things. And it's just every single bike he transitions to, it's exactly that. Like it's just. He tells the bike to do it, it does it.
Yeah.
You look at the lap time and you go, that's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But you've done it.
Yeah.
Like, it's a great bike craft. Now, at that age, jumping on a 65, it's a full-on feeling, hey?
Yeah, I remember going to school and telling everyone that I'm on like a full race bike now.
Yeah.
Because that's all I knew.
Yep.
And then it was like, yeah, it was pretty full on. Like I felt like I was.
Yep.
Like, how do I explain it? Like almost like I'm on the right path, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool.
Yeah, that you know, that age group, I remember getting onto a KX60.
Yeah.
I got on, I was like, there mustn't be anything faster than this in the world.
Yeah.
Because at that point, that's all I know in the world.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? But, I remember coming back to my dad saying, like, this thing's like, I'm on a spaceship,
Yeah.
you know? But they do feel like that as a kid. They're amazing.
Because that's all you know. That's the fastest thing you've ever ridden.
Yeah.
I remember the first time, again, like Braxy was saying yesterday, my first ever road race was at GP Juniors in Broadford.
Yep.
And I did that on a KTM 65 with Supermoto wheels on it.
Wow.
And I remember coming back into the pits after going down the back straight.
Yep.
It was like the first time I'd gone over 100 k's an hour, and I'm going to Dad like, Dad, I'm like a MotoGP racer. I'm going so fast. And keep in mind, I'm coming like dead last.
Yep.
And I'm my entire goal that weekend, because Joe Kelso was racing that as well.
Yep.
I think he was on like an RMU.
Yeah,
And my
right.
whole goal that weekend, don't get lapped.
Wow.
And
Did you get lapped?
nah,
That's good.
just.
Yeah, right.
Like they had the like at the pit entry at Broadford.
Yep.
They had the go to start sign out for me.
Yep.
Because Joel had already crossed the line. He's on his in lap, and I'm still on my last lap.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
But I think I was about 8 years old. Around 8 years old.
Yep.
And I I was just happy. I was just like as happy as a kid could be.
Mate, you mentioned your dad a bit in here. So he's vice president of Hatches for a time.
Yeah.
Family support being good through racing, like they're obviously, mate, you're well into it now. They love it, yeah?
I don't know if they love it, but they definitely always back me 100%.
Yep.
And I'm really fortunate to have mum and dad like that.
Yep.
Even my little brother, they just back me 100%, and they give me every opportunity I can get. And like, yeah, obviously I don't come from like much money, but they put everything into it, and I'm so grateful for that.
Yeah, because you mentioned your dad a few times, and obviously your mum and whatnot, and it's hard. It's a hard sport, eh?
No, it's brutal.
It ain't easy.
Like having to move away from mum and dad this year, and my little brother was pretty tough.
Yeah, yeah. How do you get there? Like how does that all happen? Like you're 15 at the time of decision making, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Do you just say to dad that, hey, I want to do this, or what did you do there, mate?
Oh, honestly, it was a hard decision to make because like I've come from like me and dad. Last year we did everything. We didn't have much support, like all the bike stuff we put on, everything, and it was just me and dad.
Yep.
And then, like going into it, dad had told me just straight up. He's like, if you go to Japan, I won't be able to come with you. Like I can't leave work and whatnot. And I understood completely, but I also, like, I was more worried as well. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do without dad and whatnot, but. It was a hard decision to make, and we kind of just sat down and talked about it and looked at pros and cons, and we kind of came to the conclusion, even if I was to do 600s over here, like, we didn't even know if we could complete the full season.
Yeah.
Like, and then that offer came up, and it was already in a country which I already know the language, and I was born there already, so I was, it wasn't like I was just moving to a completely foreign country, so that was kind of what pushed it over the line. Like, we already know where I'm going to be. Mum knows it's a safe country. I know how to speak the lingo.
Yep.
So
that's got to help.
Yeah, that helped massively.
Yep.
I was talking to Mike yesterday, and he was telling me about when he moved overseas to Europe when he was maybe a bit older than me. He was telling me how difficult it was because he couldn't speak the language.
Yep.
And he moved over there as well by himself as well, and he was just saying, like, how difficult it is, and it almost gets a bit depressing at times.
Yeah,
like being away from mum and dad for so long.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
You speak to Harry. You speak to like Mike. Ollie at the moment. It's hard. If you're in a foreign country, you do know the language, so that helps a lot.
That helps a lot.
But if you don't know the language and you can't communicate properly with your team, even the racing gets difficult at that point too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like even though I can speak the language quite well, I'm not at the point where I can give I just speak like to the team. I just speak that like universal motorbike talk where like the chatter noises and the bikes doing this. Yeah.
Yep.
I was actually surprised when they understood it as well. But I got a real good mechanic behind me, and he's Japanese, but he knows a bit of English.
Yep.
So he's like we're talking real simple Japanese, and I just tell him what my bike is doing and what it's here and whatnot, and that helps so much. Like,
so you were born in Japan?
Yeah.
So what's your Japanese like? Like, if you're not practicing it every day, things are difficult to maintain. So what's your Japanese actually like when you went back to Japan?
It was a bit rusty.
Was it? Yep.
Yeah, but I speak a bit of Japanese at home with mum and whatnot, so it was still there.
Yep.
But when I went there, it was pretty rusty.
Yep.
Like I spent 4 months or so over there at first, and it improved a lot. Like, just speaking and socializing, it improves so much.
It's the best way to do anything, isn't it? You just need to repeat processes to make them work efficiently. So, day one, you go to Japan. Oh, actually, no. Before you go to Japan, you're sitting at the airport at Brisbane. Your family are probably there.
Yeah.
What's the feeling?
I don't actually. It was a bit like. I was a bit overwhelmed. Like, and at the time, I was nonchalant. Like, I thought, oh yeah, I'm just going to Japan. I'll be back in a couple months.
Yeah. Right.
But then, like, as the time got closer and closer to me having to jump on the plane, I'm like, wait, I'm not going to see you lads again for like a long time, because I saw my little brother Hikaru and dad and mum, and I was like, I'm not going to see you guys again for so long.
Yep.
whereas like going from seeing you guys every day to not being at home with you at all, I was a bit. It suddenly like, got overwhelmed me, and I was a bit shocked. But at the same time, Dad was already kind of stressing out. And I was like, if I start stressing out, he's gonna stress. So I kind of had to just stay calm and just told him I'll be right. And
so, what was the plan when you got there? Do you have like, does the team have, like a lot of the riders that go to Europe, they'll stay in a room above the team or something like that. What did you have like when you went to Japan?
I stay with a homestay family, so a host family, which is real nice. They're super nice and understanding of the sport and how dangerous it is and like that.
Wow.
Like how tough it is and whatnot.
Yep.
But they're super nice and real understanding. But I didn't actually go to the homestay family straight away. When I arrived in Japan, I think I left on the 15th of March, I think.
Yep.
15th of March. So my flight was, I think it was Thursday morning. I don't know, it was the 9th of March.
Yep.
And so I left on Thursday morning, arrived in Japan Thursday night. The team owner came to pick me up. We went for dinner. He dropped me off at the hotel.
Yep.
And then the next morning, next morning he picks me up and we go to Motegi for a test.
Straight away?
Straight away. So first day in Japan, I'm at Motegi.
Wow.
For a 2-day test. No, 3-day test.
First time you've met them?
First time I met... Oh, no. That wasn't the first time. I've met the team owner and the superbike racer before because before we made the decision, they came to Australia and we met them.
Okay, yep.
And it kind of worked for them as well because in Japan, in the winter, you don't even bother riding. Like, it's too cold, so they came to Australia to train a bit.
Yep.
And we met them and we talked a bit all through and whatnot. So I'd met the team owner and the superbike racer before, but everyone else was my first ever time meeting him.
Jeez, that's crazy. Tell me this, how did the deal come about? Like, when you're saying they came to Australia, was it at that time? No,
so there was already... It really started, just after Morgan Park ASBK last year.
Yep.
The talk was of me doing the Suzuka 4-hour on a 600.
Yep.
And we talked about it and whatnot, and then suddenly they called us and they said there's an offer come up from Yamaha. Yamaha are choosing 5 riders, and they already have their 5, but they're willing to put in 1 more. And they said it's for 300. It's the blue. It's like I guess it's Team Yamaha technically.
Yep.
But we're all into separate teams.
Okay. Yep.
So we're all riding on the Yamaha, and Yamaha provide you the bike. They provide most of the parts, so the bikes are pretty similar.
Yep.
But then your team can decide what they do with these other parts and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And that offer came about, and so the Yamaha, at the end of the year, they said Yamaha is going to choose the best rider. Like, you don't necessarily have to be the fastest, but the best all-around rider.
Yep.
To send to Europe the year after in the European R3 Cup.
Yep.
Which, at that time, after the Bend ASBK, I said to Dad, I'm like, Dad, I don't ever want to ride a 300 again because I was already too big back then.
Yep.
And Dad's like, yeah, mate, we know. You'll be on a 600. You'll be on a 600 next year, and then that offer came about, and it was almost like I might as well do it and see where it takes me. Like, I guess you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I was like, and it was so it's Yamaha sponsored. Yamaha sponsored ride. So Yamaha provide the bike, provide all the other stuff, and you get a chance to race in Europe.
That's huge.
And me and Dad just sat down and talked about it.
Yep.
Like, weighed up pros and cons, and then they were just like, I guess we'll go down this route. And we just trust the team and trust Yamaha Japan, and hopefully puts me on the right route to get to Europe like everyone else.
Did you know anyone, or do you have people that you can talk to about that opportunity, like the people that have raced in Japan yet, or did you have any people you can go talk to as a bit of a reference point or anything?
Not really. I think the closest I got was asking Harry Voigt what Motegi and Okayama are like, because I know he did one round at Okayama a couple of years back. Yep. I just asked him what's the competition like, and he just told me straight up. He was like, they're quick.
Yeah.
Like, they're fast.
Yeah. And
I was like, oh, all right. And then but I didn't last year when I was racing 300s, I was like, oh yeah, I thought me, Cameron Dunker, and Glenn, we were like on the limit.
Yep.
Like, you couldn't go any faster. And then I went over there and I was like, whoa, like these guys are, like honestly, these guys are the next level.
So you get to day one Motegi at that test, right? First time you ride the bike. Where do you sit position-wise? Do they have timing on? Or?
No, there was no timing. It was more like,
Feel.
it was kind of getting used to the bike in Japan. I was just running in the bike. It was a brand new bike. So when I rode it, it had, like ABS was still connected, stock suspension.
Oh,
It was just it was pretty much a road legal bike, street legal bike.
Yep.
All they did was take the street fairings off and put like the race fairings on.
Yep.
And it was just like for the first 2 days. First day I couldn't ride because my license wasn't. So around Japan, you have to get each circuit license. You have to get a Motegi license, Okayama license, Suzuka license, and
it's like Gran Turismo.
Yeah. It's properly like Gran Turismo.
Yep.
And my Motegi license hadn't gone through yet. So the first day I couldn't ride, but then the second day and the third day, the first 2 sessions. So all of the second day I was running in the bike, so just going through the gears and whatnot.
Yep.
And then the third day for the first session, I just ran the bike one last time, and then the last 2 I could have a bit of a go.
Yep.
But there wasn't much I could do. I was kind of just still cruising.
So standard suspension still at that point.
Yeah, standard suspension, standard exhaust. So with the exhaust, you couldn't really. Oh, standard tires as well. And with the exhaust, because it's so bulky, like scrapes on the ground.
Oh, jeez.
On lean angles, so I'm like, I'm riding it like a super bike, completely hanging off it, trying not to hit the exhaust on the ground.
Man, that must be a wild experience. Like coming from here, your last race, you're racing here on these bikes that are pretty well prepared. Go over there, stock.
Yeah,
and
it's
then
just
trying to go.
everything stock.
Yep.
I was like, whoa.
Day 3, what do they do then? Do they change things out, or is it?
No, just it was stock until. Yeah, so I did the 3 days at Motegi.
Yep.
Or 2 days, I guess. And the weekend after, it was like a local round at Motegi.
Yep.
And we went to do that. But there was a problem with Ohlins. Like, it's like Akrapovic over here. You couldn't get anything in.
Oh, yeah.
So we got the Ohlins shock in, but we couldn't get the exhaust, the forks in.
Yep.
Like forks into the country. So we're like waiting on forks, and they didn't come. So I had to race that weekend on I didn't even race. I did free practice.
Yep.
And we decided not to race in the race because it was just pouring rain. It was like -1 degrees.
Oh, gee.
And we're like, there's probably no point racing, hey.
And did you what did you have for the fork? Did you have a stock fork?
Yeah, stock forks. So I rode free practice on stock forks, and it wasn't actually too bad. It was only like 3-4 seconds off lap record.
Really?
Yeah.
So brakes standard, or do they do different brakes?
No, I got I had good brake discs.
Good brake discs, yeah.
Good brake discs. Exhaust system was on, fairings were on.
And the rear shock.
But then the ECU was still stock. So in Japan, you change out the ECU to a A-Racer ECU, which is what they run in Asia Road Racing.
Oh, true. Yep.
So, but that ECU hasn't come yet either. So I ran on a stock ECU.
Wow.
I was pretty like, oh, all right.
Yep.
But then like the other lads were still going like 2 seconds quicker than me.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, well, I've still got a bit more to do. And then we got to the Japan road racing round. Because that was the last test I got there.
Yep.
And then we got to the Japan road racing round, and that was when I was like, that's when the big boys came out to play, and I was like, whoa. Like in the first session, they broke lap record by like a second. By the end of the weekend, we broke the lap record by like 2.5 seconds.
That's insane.
Like it went from a 1:12 to like a 1:10.2.
Like, where do you get that time from?
The
lap record's fast already.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like where do you get that? That's such a huge margin.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was pretty like, whoa, like, that's all I could really say. I was like, wow, like, these guys are quick.
Yep.
But I think over there, like, Motegi, the whole top, I think all the way to P9 or something was just all Hondas, the CBR 250RR.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the Hondas over there are the competitive bike. Like, that's what you want to be on.
Really? More than the Yamaha?
Yeah.
Because we see other places around. It's always the R3, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
I think it's because obviously I don't know, somehow they got more top speed than us.
Yep.
They're faster, but they're also lighter. They're lighter, and they've got a fly-by throttle body. So you got the auto blip engine brake, like you can adjust all the engine braking, slipper clutch. So I think like with all that combined, you just kind of find the time everywhere, just incrementally everywhere.
Yep.
And especially like Motegi, where it's just corner straight, corner straight, corner straight.
All right. So tell me this. Let's go through this. So you get to Motegi on that first morning, right?
Yeah.
Iconic circuit. Like that place it's one of the most intriguing circuits. So much history in motorsport. Now, from people I know that have worked in that field, the level of it's probably better than a world superbike field, as in the support that some of the superbike teams and everything get as well. So what's it like just being in that field?
When I first went, honestly, for the first round, I was shocked. Like I didn't, like over here, there's the mum and dad teams they rock up with the box trailer, pull the bike out, and it's just the rider and dad. Whereas
Stanley toolbox.
Yeah, Stanley toolbox. The camper chairs.
Pretty much that's it, and a 20-litre fuel drum and what else,
That's about it.
Yeah.
Over there, every single team, even if it's mum and dad, every single team has a truck, like a big truck, and they've got at least 2 mechanics with them. Like, it's so professional.
Wow.
Like, everyone's got the pit walls, like, everyone's got a race queen, like the grid girls. They hire their own grid girls and stuff.
So every class too, you're talking, hey?
Every class. So all the way down from JP 250 all the way to JSB 1000.
Yep.
And
It's insane.
It's insane. I was like, wow. Like, this is... And, like, even over there, I don't know what... Obviously, I've never raced in Europe, and I don't know what European levels of racing are. But just looking at the kids that are racing the class... And, like, looking at where they have gone in Europe and how they have gone, like, I don't think we'll be... In Japan, I don't think they'll be far off what they'll be doing in Europe. Just in my class, anyway. I'm not sure about 600s and whatnot, but in my class anyway, like, the guys that are racing there are pretty... For example, his name's Ogiwara Ryota. He's number 97. And... I think it was Levi or Jai Russo telling me. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but he was saying that kid at the Asia Talent Cup tryouts, it was like a second quicker than everyone. And I was going, whoa, like that's insane.
A second.
It's not like a little kart track as well.
Yeah, right. It's massive.
It's massive.
And everyone's on the same machinery.
Yeah.
Like that's the full on part too, isn't it? Like when you're all on the same machinery. That's insane.
They're the ones that cut a little deeper.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurts, eh?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, how much you had to work? How much you had to like chisel away, find different things, find things out about yourself? How much has that changed?
I actually had like one point when I was like, is this really for me? Like, do I want to keep doing this? Like, after the first round wasn't too bad. Like, top 10 in qualifying. Then I got up to P5 in the first lap, and then I got taken out, obviously, but. After the second round, it was just a shocker, and I just sat there and just thought, like, is this really for me? Like, I was just I kind of sat there. I was almost depressed. Like I was so. It was like a big. Yeah, it was like a big slap in the face, and I was like, whoa, like, is this really for me? And
how long had you been in Japan at that point?
A month and a half.
Bit of homesickness kicking in too.
And I think it was like at the same time where a bit of homesickness kicked in, and I had that really bad result. I was a bit upset, but I just thought about it. I just sat there for a couple of nights and just thought about it. I was like, well, I'm sure like Marquez and I'm sure Lorenzo and Rossi, they all had times where they like questioned themselves and whatnot. And like, I've already come this far. Like, if I give up now, I'm just letting everyone down. And but like, that's just like mentally finding out stuff about myself. But like physically, when I went over there, I already know I was quite a bigger rider for a 300 when I was over here, like compared to like Cameron Dunker and like Pizzetta and stuff. And then I went over there and I'm like, oh, you're kidding. I saw these kids and I'm like, surely they're not racers, right? And they come and introduce themselves to me. I'm like, so you're a racer? And this kid's like on my chest, like he's like this tall and like skinny as. I'm like, surely this kid can't be quick. He just flies past me down the straight in the next session, and I'll go, oh, I'm gonna try to keep up with him. Go into the corner, he just locks it and backs it in all the way into the corner off the back straight. And And like so, like over here, like usually like the little kids, like there's a couple of exceptions here and there, but
Yep.
like the little kids are quick down the straight, but they're not too good through corners.
Mm.
'Cause over there, they're just like they're quick down the straight because they're light,
Yep.
and they're just like fast through the corners.
Figured it out.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Man, like you said, that little cuts, just keeps cutting away.
Cutting. Eventually it wears you down, but you just got to like kind of dig deep and find it in yourself to keep going. Like,
Yep.
it's almost like mentally draining, like knowing that you're going into a round that you're already disadvantaged.
Yep.
On a track that you barely have any experience on. It's really like, it's kind of like it almost puts you in a negative mindset.
Yeah.
And you really have to fight that.
Yep.
And to know that you've been in the top 5 in this class before, like there's no point dwelling, like you just got to get on with the job and whatnot.
And that's where the gold is. It really is. That's where the improvement will come from. You know, like that Motegi going there, different condition. They're the real hard ones that hopefully the next time around you're in a different position.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Yeah. But what do you reckon the weight difference would be between you and the others? What do you reckon it is?
Well, but I'm the heaviest rider in the blue crew class
Yep.
by about 6 kilo.
6. Okay. Yep.
That's to the next heaviest kid.
Yep.
But then the lightest kid there is like 54 kilo.
Okay.
Like he is so light.
Wow.
And he's short,
Yep.
skinny, and quick through the corners.
So how many rounds is the series for you?
6 rounds.
So how far are you in now?
We've done Motegi, Sugo, and Tsukuba.
3A.
So we've got 3 left.
What's been the fun track so far?
Tsukuba was pretty fun, and
Yep.
Motegi was real fun. Like, honestly, all 3 tracks have been real fun.
Yep.
But I think out of all of them, Motegi's got to be my favourite.
Okay.
Like, I think it was also because I came from Australia where the golden rule is, like, at most tracks, is don't hit the ripple strip.
Yep.
Like, if you hit the ripple strip, you're going to crash.
Yep.
Then going over there, going to a track where you can brake on the ripple strips and you can hit ripple strips on the apex of the corners.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's grip out there?
Grip out there is just... the grip on it's insane. Like, there's kids hitting it in the wet.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, like, you do that in Australia and you'll be sliding down the gravel. So.
Yeah, you just grab that front brake lever and it's all over.
Exactly.
Wow.
Whereas, like, in Japan... And I only figured out that, like, how hard I could brake on the ripple strips in qualifying.
Yep.
And I was getting a tow from someone. I was just sitting in their tow.
Yep.
And they've swerved onto the ripple strip and then cut into the corner. And I was like, I'm going to do that. So I did that. I gained like a second. I was like, just using like just those little increments more of track.
Yep.
I just gained so much time just doing that. And that's another thing. Like, I had to learn that on the go. Because they've been riding tracks where you can do that their entire life. Whereas, like, in Australia, the furthest you'll go is maybe on the inside of the white line.
Yeah. You might just get say a right-hand corner, you might just touch your left-hand side of your tyre on it. Hey, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you don't want to go any further.
Nah.
So.
Yeah, that's crazy. So what other learning things? Braking hard, obviously. That's a huge
braking
thing.
hard. Like, the way they brake over there is just limit everywhere.
So brake hard, get off earlier, or what's it like for that? Or trail brake deeper in, or anything like that?
It's weird because over here with the Pirelli tires, you can carry so much speed through the corner and it'll just hold and hold and hold.
Yep.
Whereas with the Dunlops we use over there, they don't have as much grip as the Pirelli, so you have to ride them completely differently.
Yep.
So you have to almost ride it like a bigger bike where you get it on the fat of the tire to get on the throttle real hard.
Just take the load off that front tyre.
No, just so the rear doesn't slide out.
Yeah, right.
So you have to get it like up on the tyre and then accelerate out. So what the guys seem to do there, they just brake super deep, sit it up, and then just boost out.
Wow.
Whereas, and because they're light, they can do that. But then I try to do that, and it's like trying to carry a 10-kilo bag on the back of your back, trying to do it.
Man, that's super interesting because, like, obviously here the corner speed, it's all about flow, you know, and the tyre gives you the grip to be able to flow. So, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it was
that's a learning curve as well.
Yeah, that was another learning curve. So just the way they brake and the way they ride the bikes over there.
Yep.
And just how aggressive they are. Like, you leave the slightest door open, like just a little crack in the door, and they just blast straight on through there. Like, 2 people will come by. Like, you have to be on that 110% intensity the entire race.
Yep.
So that was another thing. Like in Australia, you might get, like not everyone will go for that last tiny little move, like
Yep.
and whatnot. But those kids in Japan, they're just like they go for everything, like the tiniest little gap, they just go for it. So I feel like my racecraft and aggression have got a bit. Like that's another thing that's kind of improved, I'd say.
I reckon that'd be one of the things for you, right? Like this weekend that we've just had. That's probably one of the things that's been hard for you to watch. Then.
Oh yeah.
You would want to be testing your current pace to your pace here from last year, wouldn't you? Like
Yeah,
that would
definitely.
be a big thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because like over there, just being smart with the way you ride. So, like sometimes on the last lap, people get like, especially in Australia, people get really excited and just go for gold and just try it. They just don't think about it. Like Phillip Island, there was one kid, and like the golden rule there is don't lead onto the straight, and he's just last lap. I've like you can see it in the live stream. I've put my legs out to the side just to catch the wind to slow myself down so I don't lead.
Yep.
And this kid's just going straight for it. He's leading the last lap.
Yep.
And I'm just sitting there like, what's this kid doing?
Yeah.
Like he thinks he's gonna win. He's like he's just gonna get slipstream. He's gonna get swallowed to like fifth.
Yep.
That's the other thing. Like he's just I just learned to stay calm on the last lap and don't panic.
Yep.
And that's kind of like you just kind of got to remember that you know this is where you have to be. You've done it this many times this lap. You know you can get to the line first from here.
Yep.
And that's kind of what I've learned. You just have to riding with your head. That's what I want to say.
Where'd you get this wisdom from? Like you're very got wisdom. Like where'd this all come from? Like
a lot of it came from Dad. Dad's
is he a thinker?
He's definitely a thinker. He's a thinker and a stressor. But when he's stressing, he starts thinking, and he tells me all this. But a lot of it's just, I think I just maybe growing up real quick. I had to grow up pretty quick when I moved over there. And I think,
Jeez, yeah.
I think I just I had to start thinking for myself.
Yep.
And just like re-looking at the mistakes I've made. Like even watching ASBK last year, like just looking at the mistakes I made and just like drilling it into my head to not make that same mistake again.
Yep.
And I think that's part of it. And just everyone that's helped me throughout, like they've always just given these little tips. And it's the little things that kind of just build up. And that really help you in the long run.
Who has been some of the people that have been like with you on this journey from, right from that Pee-wee 50? Who are some of the people?
One of them is Tommy Lay from Triple M Motorcycles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's just up the road, and he's been supporting me ever since I got that Pee-wee 50.
Really?
Like he's, I don't know what, was 6 years old, 10 years ago.
Yep.
He's been supporting me ever since then, and he gives me helps me out so much, and he's actually part of the reason I'm over there now. Like he introduced us to the guy.
Wow.
So.
Because Tommy used to work for Yamaha in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He used to help them out.
Yeah. So, yeah, we used to do some road rides together.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool guy. Yeah.
Great guy.
He's got some funny stories.
He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is one of the nicest and just funny.
Yeah.
Real funny.
Yeah, he doesn't even try to be funny. He's just outright.
Just funny.
He's just funny.
Yeah, and I think that's probably workshop time.
Yeah.
For his whole career.
Yeah.
You hang around all these people and you become like a bit of a storyteller. And he's we two in particular rides. So one of them the most. He had a Repsol Fireblade, CBR 1000. I had my GSX R1000. I think it was at the time, or R1. And we went. I think we did like a 900-kilometre day. Big day, right? And but first thing in the morning, we're riding along, and Tommy zooms past us. We're a couple of hours in, and it was still really cold. And have you seen those mitts that some riders wear on the?
Yeah.
He loves them, right?
He loves them.
He really does. And he just come past. He's like full leathers on in these mitts, and I'd never seen him using them at this point before. And I'm like, what is that guy wearing? And he's just everything about him is just funny. Like he does all these cool things, and we had one of the best rides, and went to this place about 600-700 k's away, and that night, good time, and just a fun person hanging around.
Yeah, he's a great person. That's all you can really say. Like there's nothing more to it. All he wants is to help. Like, He just wants the best for. Like he never wishes anything bad on anyone. He just wants everyone to be happy and.
Can ride too.
Can ride, yeah.
Yeah.
He's done some crazy stupid time on this old I think it was that Fireblade you're talking about around Lakeside.
Yep.
I don't remember what it was, but like for a track day ride, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like that's pretty on it.
Yeah, definitely. I know of a couple. I'll tell you when we're away from here. But there's a couple of funny stories I know through Yamaha and stuff, through some friends that were involved in Yamaha a fair few years ago. And it's a good Tommy story, and I'll tell you off air. But yeah, he's a character. So who else has been around?
Well, for my road racing, like I guess my 2 years in ASBK,
Yeah.
Chris Jones had helped me a lot.
Mm.
So we jumped from suspension mechanic, and then I saw Chris's van at the that iconic van at the
Sticks out, eh?
Sticks out, yeah, like a sore thumb.
Yep.
And I saw his van. I'm like, Chris is here, and that whole day I was having problems. And I was there. Dad wasn't there with me. I was there with Trent from Oakland Park Racing.
Yep.
And I was like, I had problems all day, like just couldn't get the rear hooked up. And I just went straight to Chris. I was like, hey Chris, I'm Taiyo. Nice to meet you.
Yep.
And I'm still like 14 at this point, and I'm like, could you just help me with this, please?
Yep.
And he's come along with his, what is it, like 12 mil T-bar or something. He's just done a couple of turns here and there. I've dropped like 2 seconds.
Serious.
I just called Dad straight. I'm like, Dad, I got to work with Chris.
Yep.
And ever since then, like all of last year, Chris helped me.
Yep.
And Chris was the one that set up all my suspension. And I think he's a big part of my success last year.
Yep.
Like, there's a lot of people come together for it, but Chris was probably a big part.
Yep.
Because like just having the bike underneath you that you know you can trust and push to the limit all the time.
Yep.
Is just such a big confidence boost.
Is that the best bike you've ridden last year? Did that feel?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't ridden many bikes, but that was my...
Felt good though?
It felt good. It was probably it's my favourite bike so far.
Because you seem to be able to just be anywhere. Like watching your racing last year, you could turn in from any point. You could. It looked very confident.
Yeah, no, I was just... Chris had that thing on rails for me. Like it worked. Like honestly, from day one, as soon as he started doing my suspension, it just felt so good.
Yep.
Like the way that the bike felt and the way it was moving around, and then last year, kind of just at the beginning of the year, it just kind of clicked for me.
Yep.
And then ever since then, I kind of after the first round, the Bend 2021.
Oh yeah, yep.
That was when it really like kind of clicked for me at first. Because before that, I was like, wasn't even in the points in ASBK. I was like 25th.
Yeah. Right.
And then we come to the Bend, and Dad didn't come with me. I came with the Recondi crew.
Yep.
And they took me down and brought my bike and whatnot. And I was staying with them, and the whole weekend I was able to, like for me this was a big thing. I was able to stay with the front pack.
Yep.
I didn't make any passes. Just sat there. But it was like a front pack of 12. And then in the last race, Johnny Littress comes up to me and gives me this nice pep talk. He's like, well, if it's the last race of the day, last race of the year, if you do tumble the bike, it doesn't matter because you're not racing anymore till next year.
Oh, jeez.
So he's like, I reckon just go for gold.
Yep.
Right before this is like 30-second boards out. I'm like, hey, you're right. So I'm like, I went for gold that race. I was like, I can get it. Because it was the top 6. I think Ben Baker or something broke away at the front.
Yep.
And then there was like 5 of us. Me, Glenn Nelson, Archie McDonald, Tom Drain, and there was someone else. I don't remember his name. I think Mitch Simpson.
Mm.
And we're all kind of just... Oh, and Demery. Brandon Demery.
Yep.
Oh, and Angus. There you go.
That's a big crew.
That was a big crew.
Yeah.
And then I got up to second, and I was like freaking out. I was like, I'm in second. Like, what do I do? And I'm just like, I could be on for a podium here, so I'm just pushing like no tomorrow.
Yep.
And then I realized that like this could actually like this could happen. I might be on the podium.
Yep.
And the last lap comes, going into the second last corner. I try to outbrake everyone on the inside and just front chattering. I'm like, no, I gotta let go. I just turned in and finished like 4th or something. But that was my best result, and I was buzzing after that race.
Would have been a great feel, yeah.
I was like, I called Dad straight. I'm like, Dad, did you see that?
Yep.
I'm still like, how old was I? I was 14.
Yeah, just on the cusp, 14, 15.
Yeah, 14, 15.
Yep.
And then, after that, going into Phillip Island round 1 last year, I knew I was like, I went into it telling myself that I can contend for the championship.
Yep.
and going into it, went round 1, and that was my first ever podium.
Be awesome.
And it was like, and again, Dad couldn't make it for that round. Chris Jones and Bev took me down and looked after me the whole weekend, and like Phillip Island first podium, I was so happy.
What's a comfort zone mean to you? Because mate, 14 years old, traveling with all these different people. You're in Japan now. Mate, you must really love by now to explore, to be out of your comfort a little bit.
I think that's almost like my comfort, like being out of my comfort zone. I feel comfortable being out of my comfort zone. Like obviously there are times where I'm not comfortable and like I feel stressed and alone, but like when I know that it's not really any expectations dad and stuff put on me, it's just what I put on myself. Like I know what I have to do, and that's kind of where I will feel comfortable, like where I'm like telling myself that I gotta do this. And it's just obviously it's real difficult, but
mate, I look at it, I'm like, listen to your story there, I'm like, if I heard this guy just constantly out of a comfort zone, you know, like it's which is great. That's a great thing. 4 months in Japan so far this year. Food, drink, lifestyle, training. What's that like?
Oh, I can't tell you how hard it is to diet in Japan.
Really? Yeah.
Because I've been, like, obviously, because I'm already a bigger guy, I'm trying to diet down and maybe cut a bit of weight.
Okay.
But it is so difficult. Out of all the countries, it had to be Japan.
Yeah, right.
And, like, the food is so good. It's like, I walk past the shop, I'm like, oh, that smells nice. I'm like, I'm walking, no, don't walk in.
Wow.
It's like...
So it's been great.
It's honestly, like, the atmosphere there is just awesome.
Yep.
Like, Japan is, it's just beautiful.
There's not one person that you talk to who doesn't like going to Japan.
No, like, everyone I've talked to is like, oh, mate, you're so lucky you're in Japan. It's such a beautiful country. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah.
Explain the second half of the year. Are you going to Suzuka?
Yeah.
Oh, man. September 5, 6, 7, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, 5, 6, 7.
I look like, through work, I was like, I might be able to do something here. This could work out okay. And I looked at it, and I'm working that weekend. And I'm like, oh, that's one of the things on my list that I've got to get to.
Suzuka, yeah.
Yeah, and it's coming back into a spot where a lot of people are really, it's always been a big race, but a lot of people are committing to it as well externally through World Superbike and stuff like that, because it's a good time in the season.
Yeah.
That's going to be awesome.
I'm pretty keen. Like, Suzuka, I've been looking forward to Suzuka all year because it looks like a track that kind of suits. It's similar to an Australian track.
Yep.
Like, it suits the way that you would ride it. So I'm really looking forward to Suzuka, but Suzuka's the last round. So before that, I've got this track called Auto Police.
Okay.
Which is in a place called Oita in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, right.
And that again looks like a real fun track, like real up and down.
So you haven't been there yet?
No.
No.
And it's like 17, 18 hours away from where I am, so I'm not sure if we'll actually be able to get... I might be able to get one test.
So where are you based?
I'm based near Tokyo, so Yokohama.
Okay, yep.
So about a half hour from Tokyo.
Yep. And in the locality of racing that you've done so far, what has been the travel like? How far and things like that? Like, has it been pretty good?
Well, first half of the season was almost local, like Suzuka.
Yep.
Not Suzuka. Motegi, Tsukuba, and Sugo. Sugo is the furthest track away at 4 hours, which is in Australia. That's nothing.
Yep.
And then Motegi was like 2.5 hours, and Tsukuba's pretty much home circuit. It's like an hour away.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's great.
Now, I haven't seen any messages from a while, but we were on a group chat as some gaming stuff last year.
Yeah.
Did you learn some of the tracks through gaming?
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you look at Scuba, you look at Motegi, they're on, like, GT, F1 for one of them. Did that help?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like,
that's a good, eh?
That's, yeah, Mum and Dad will probably get upset saying this, but... Like, PlayStation is like my second, because I don't get to ride much, so it's pretty much like my training. It's like how I do my visual training.
Yep.
And me and Cameron explain it's like all we do is play PlayStation and play these tracks.
Seems to be working.
Oh, I think so.
Like, yeah, and just the track knowledge. Like when you're talking about these places, like I always remember, you know, such and such from GT. You know, that was that track, and it's it's got to help a little bit. You know.
Yeah, well, like last year at Morgan Park, I was joking around with one of the marshals, and there was a photographer there, and he was just listening in, and it was I was joking about me playing PlayStation a lot with Cameron Swain and all the other guys we race with, and they were like, and someone asked me, he's like, "Are you getting on the drinks tonight?" I said, "Probably not. I like to celebrate because I won like 5 out of 6 races, and like, are you going to get on the drinks tonight to celebrate?" I was like, "No, I'll probably just go home and play more PlayStation."
It's so funny because that group chat, I think it was that because I got Troy Gunther and that was on it as well.
Yeah,
so
we played with Troy
and stuff. Yeah, so it's addictive, that stuff too.
Oh no, it's bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'll just sit there sometimes. I'll wake up in the morning just like, I'll just play for like 5 minutes. I'll look at the time, it's been like 3 hours. I'm like, oh no.
For me, like it's probably one of the only things that I do that just removes me from anything.
Yeah.
You know, I've wanted my wheel and that's got dust on it. Like I really wanted to get. I haven't played for 5 months, but I don't think I've played it this year. Right?
Yeah.
And it does my head in. It's because it is one of the things that when I do have some downtime, I can just go do, and you're in the zone. You're doing. You're racing. You know, it's a great hobby. You know.
Yeah, that's great. But like, even in Japan, I bought a PlayStation over there. Cause they're pretty cheap over there, and I still play with all the boys.
Yeah, cool.
Just do a little. Honestly, I genuinely think it's helped me. Like at scuba, or like Sugo, a track I barely got any practice at.
Yep.
I kind of knew, like I had half an idea of how to go around it and which lines to take, because the track was actually like surprisingly similar from the game to real life.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
So I was like, I kind of had an idea of what lines to take, and it kind of tried to replicate that to real life. And with the limited practice I got, because that weekend was just so weird. Like, so first and second and third free practice, we had bike really bad bike problems, like engine blew up and then had to run it in and all that.
Oh no.
And then fourth free practice, I think it was. It was dry.
Yep.
So I got that as my like one dry session.
Yep.
And I did a PB, which is still 2 seconds slower than P1.
Yep.
And then in the last free practice session, just poured rain, and I was like fifth or sixth fast in the wet.
Yep. And
then qualifying the next morning was wet again, so wet qualified 7th, and then the race just suddenly I was like I know I'm good in the wet, so I was just rain, please rain, please rain, please rain. And it was like raining all day up until like an hour and a half before my race, and it suddenly stopped and it just went dry.
Oh.
And I was like, you're kidding. So that was a bit difficult, but yeah, we got through it. Scored 1 point or something. Finished like 15th, but
point's a point.
Point's a point, exactly.
So what's on for the rest of the season? What is the rounds? Name them out for us.
So I've got Auto Police, Okayama, Auto Police, Okayama, and Suzuka. But I'm going to Thailand at the end of this month to race in Buriram circuit.
Oh, that'll be cool.
So I'm pretty keen for that. So Yamaha Japan kind of teamed up Yamaha Thailand.
Yep.
Because they did that Blue Crew Thailand Cup over there.
Yep.
And there's 4 of us, the Blue Crew riders, going over to do it, which will be pretty interesting.
What's the sort of goal like for the end of the year, and do you have anything on the table for next year, or do you like the 600's obviously probably the thing that you're thinking of in the back of your head, just purely on size and starting to age into the right time. What's the sort of goal?
Oh yeah, it all just depends on what happens this year. Like with Yamaha, if I do end up getting a chance to go to Europe, I'll still take that. Although it's on an R3 again, it's on the right path. It's in Europe. Yep. And it's in Europe. That's it. Like I'll take it and I'll try my best. Whereas if I don't get the offer, I think I'll still try to stay in Japan to race a 600 class.
Okay. Yep.
Hopefully, because like I'm already in the way there, but like there are a few people that obviously already know me and whatnot, and like all the manufacturers are from the Yamaha's from there. And you get actual like really good Yamaha support over there, which I'm on this year, and hopefully like, I can impress enough that I can keep that for next year.
It's a huge thing, and you've got a pretty good character, right? Actually, a very good character. What are the other riders like? Is it are they more quiet? Are you quiet when you're over there? Like what? Because you speak very, very well. You've got good character. What do you like when you're back in Japan?
I try not to change it all. Like obviously it's a bit different speaking the language that good, but with like I haven't changed too much.
Yep.
But the kids in Japan, they seem, I don't know, they're a bit quiet, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But I think the reason I'm able to speak the way I do is because I guess I spend, even from like last year, didn't have Dad with me holding my hand at the track. I kind of had to make my own way, and not really make my own way, but like talk to people myself and kind of become my own man.
Grow up quick, like you said before. Yeah.
Whereas like the kids over there, they got their dad and mum holding their hand, and it's a bit like whenever they do something, mum and dad comes with them and whatnot.
Yep.
So like they're real good, and like it's nice, but it's a bit different in that way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, it's evident. Like when I've spoken to you over the first time I met you, you were sick.
Where was that?
We did the mountain bike thing.
Oh yeah.
So
I
that's the first
that.
time I really met you. I've seen you around before that, but not that you were sick, but I think you just had breakfast.
I know. I had I was a bit sick. No, I had like the flu or something.
Was that what it was?
The next day it came down bad. Like I was bedbound for like 3 days.
Yep.
But not just that, it was like the first real time I went mountain biking.
It's
properly.
Too.
Because like all I used to do was just go dirt jumps and hit jumps.
Yep.
Like we go up the hill, I'm like, we're almost there. Yeah, it's like, and I think Mike said to me, "Man, this is like we haven't even got to the trail yet." I'm like, "You're kidding."
Yep.
But no, it was great. That was fun.
That's cool. There's got to be more of those things, and they're real fun to do.
Yeah.
You know? So, now you did Aussie Flat Track Nationals the other week. How long are you actually in Japan for? Like, what's the actual date that you look at coming back to Oz? Because Suzuka's really not that far away.
So Suzuka and Phillip Island. So Suzuka at All Japan, and then the week after is Phillip Island ASBK.
Yeah,
I'm not too sure the date, date it is, but I'll be coming back that week after Suzuka, I'd say.
Yeah, cool. Yep.
And I'm not too sure if I don't think Dad was saying that there's a possibility I can do Phillip Island, but it's a bit close.
Quick turnaround, eh?
Yeah, quick turnaround. I'm like, I'd rather save the money or do more testing at the bend or something.
Yep. Yeah. No, that makes sense, because I was like, I'm just looking at the dates and that. When do you get back? And yeah, tell you what, the year's gone quick, eh?
Oh yeah.
When you look at it.
Yeah, or like I went over there and those 3-4 months or so, they went by like so quick.
Like you said, it was March 9.
Yeah, March 9 I left.
Now look at it.
You come back on the 25th of June.
Yep. So you go back tomorrow. You fly into Japan. You fly out to Japan. What day do you get onto a bike next?
What day? 18, 19, 20th.
20th this month?
Yeah, this month.
Okay. That's not far away.
Yeah. The 20th and 21st, I'm at Okayama doing a test.
What's the 17th today?
Yeah, so
That's pretty crazy
3 days.
to say.
We got a bike.
Yep. Cool. And you rode a 450 the other week for the first time. I got to ask you this.
Oh, no.
How was that, mate? Oh, yeah. It's only a digit.
Yeah.
But no, how was it?
No, it was actually super fun. It was it was my first time riding on 19s as well.
Yeah.
And after riding 19s, that was the funnest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
Like, I was actually contemplating. I was like, I'm gonna have to get a dirt bike now, because I rode that 450, and the first practice session, I went out and I didn't think it would have that much power. I was like, oh, it surely can't have much power.
Yep.
I just wind the throttle on down the back straight, and the front just starts lifting. I'm like, oh no! So I switched it off, hit the back brake.
Yep.
And then I thought I was going half alright. I'm like, I'm not going too bad. I see Jared just drift around the outside of me. And he's like looking at me.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
I'm in for it here.
Yeah, I'm in for it here. I was like, oh no. But then it was honestly, I can't even explain how fun it was. Like, it was honestly like it's such a well-run event as well, eh?
Yeah, I
AFTN.
think so. Yeah, I a little bit biased on that front, because to do a little bit behind the scenes with it, but we had no complaints.
From the outside, I was like, this is pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was good, eh?
Yeah, and like the I was riding the Trent O'Donnell from APO.
Yep.
I guess kind of sponsored me for that round. So I rode their bike and whatnot, and it was actually it wasn't like some like slow stock 450. It was actually a properly done up 450.
Yeah, and was it one of the 50th anniversary ones, that one?
Yeah. It had I think it had the whatever motor it's got, that different engine.
Yeah, she's a proper bike.
Yeah, it's a bike.
Yep.
And it was pretty fun. That was definitely fun.
Like, speak to Trent a fair bit, and one of the big things too, family like that, they've brought a real good feel to the pit.
Yeah.
You know, they just want to go racing and enjoy racing. And obviously Jared's part of them. You were part of them that weekend, and the boys, and like it's a good feel. And it was cool to see you there, mate. When I rocked up, I was like, damn, you're gonna have a go here, and straight onto a 450, first time, 19s, a field of 36 or 38 riders in Pro 450 that could all pretty much be up the front of it. Like, it was separated by nothing in times.
Yeah, well, I think
heavy.
At the end of the day, because I was in 450B for the first day.
Yep.
At the end of the day, like top 5 in 450B were doing like the same times as not as fast, but like same times that would have put us at the back of 450A.
Yeah, 100%.
So I was like, oh wow, like in road racing, like 5/10 is nothing.
Yep.
And then you go to dirt, and 5/10 is like giving him a mile. So
yeah, it's a tough sport.
Yeah,
it's a tough sport. Now, that was cool. Well, there's going to be another round in November when you're home. So
Tyree, I'll be there.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Yeah, that'll be good. Especially coming from road sort of background now.
Yeah.
Tari will be great on 19s. That's going to be exciting.
So keen.
Yeah. That'll be that Gunnedah feel.
Yeah. And we were talking about it. At Appen. Alison came up to me.
Yep.
And she said, oh, do you want to do... I just spoke to your dad. And I was like, oh, yeah, what did he say? He's, well, you'll be back for Tari.
Yep.
And I looked at the dates, and I'm like testing the bend like the week before. So I'm like, oh, yeah. So I'm like, he's like, do you want to do it on our 450? I'm like, yep. So we're going to... The plan is we go to the bend.
Yep.
Do a 3-day test or something there.
Yep.
And then on the way back, we'd stop in at Tyree, race, and then go home.
That's cool. Oh, that's awesome, mate. I didn't know you were going to do that. But so you do round 1 and 2, and then 5 and 6.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
Yeah, sweet. Mate, we better wrap it up. Hour and 20.
Sweet.
Went by pretty quick.
That went by super quick. Wow.
Can you come back in at the end of the year?
Yeah, definitely.
I want to hear how the rest of the year goes, and I can't wish you anything but all success for it, man. It's huge. It's huge to be away from home.
Yeah,
it's a big thing, and racing in another part of the world, and really trying. So, yeah, please come in at the end of the year and tell us how it went.
Yeah, I'll let you know when I get home.
Thanks, man.
Sweet.
That's all we have time for on today's show. If you get the chance, head over to YouTube and hit subscribe on the Talk and Chatter page. Also, head over to iTunes and give us a star rating and a review there. It all helps to get the podcast out there. A big thank you goes to everyone that's been doing this already, and we'll be back with another show soon.